So it's the many days later, and I got done with some of the other customer cars. I was going to utilize this time wisely to get this engine finishly built. Then I came across some unfortunate events here. So not only did the timing chain break, but it damaged the timing, the balance shaft belt. This is the tensioner, the timing chain, the chain for the tensioner, golly, rode up on that, the tensioner head, damaged that, and then rolled up on the bolt. This is the second time that happened. So I got it's like a regular valve cover bolt, so I'm gonna try to find that. So I'm gonna have to replace all the components for the balance shaft because they got ruined. This is the tensioner for the balance shaft, broken. All that stuff got extracted when I pulled the oil pan out, thank goodness. So I did that, got new bearings and all that fancy crap in there. So we're going to bottom end. It just ran to a slight inconvenience. So I've got some of the stuff cleaned off what I can, and I'm just gonna find my marks on the balance shaft. Hopefully they're still there. I'm hoping. Well, it's been several more days since the last video. When I looked at the timing chain, the guides had screwed up and for the balance shaft, so I went to O'Reilly's and bought that, but I just lost interest in repairing this engine that day because I had other obligations. But I got the balance shaft set, and I'm going to get that replaced because those components were broke. We saw the block like we're looking at here. It looks nice, got new pistons, cross hashes, all that fancy stuff, so we're in good shape. Let's look at the cylinder head because that came from the machine shop. It was less than $400, literally right at $400 worth of work done to it. And let me show you what that looks like. So here's the head, here's the valves now. They did a beautiful job cleaning those valves out and getting my head cleaned up. Hell, even the spark plugs are clean. I'm gonna leave those plugs in there so they still look great. Chambers are clean, valves are clean, head is shaved. Here's the top end. Cam's all lubed up now. He didn't tighten the cam caps down, but I've got those tight down to 89 inch-pounds, which is about 9 foot-pounds. So they're tight. Caps are in there. The cam sensors. All right, let me get this one car knocked out, and then we'll get this installed. I've been talking for hours, man. I talk too much. But anyway, now I can finally get the head on because it's been a couple hours since I last filmed. I'm just gonna hit with this 1000 grit, clean my surfaces a little bit. Then I'm gonna get some brake cleaner and just take a rag, go back over it, head gasket, and pop it on there. Beautiful. This is a GM style head gasket, and it is factory, so you can't put it in wrong. It only goes in one way, so you put it in backwards, it's not gonna look right. A little upside down. All the bolt holes lined up like they're supposed to. I'm missing the exhaust gasket, so I gotta go pick that up. Dang it. Yeah, I tell you what, I forget so much stuff. I thought I had it, it's not on there. So it's gonna be another 2 hours before I can touch it again. I should have been done with this 4 times over by now. know I wasn't supposed to put those in there first. They're not tightened down. I just ran them down in there. So I got new bolts from GM. I'm gonna stick the threads in 5W30 and tap the top of the thread where the base of the bolt will reside, and that'll lubricate the bottom of it. So it goes in oil, tap the top, throw it down in there. I have a 15 millimeter. I'm just gonna run it down. Repeat the process. There. So the torque sequence is a two-step, 22 and then 160 degrees. So it's technically 22 foot-pounds and then 155, but I'm just going to round up to 160. So that's like close to 180. So from here all the way down to about there, it'll be close enough. All right, let's do this. Make my torque wrench, do my X pattern, and then I'll put a mark and then do 160 degrees. I got my degree wheel, so the trick is once you get the moving, keep on moving. That's the plan. So 155 will be up there somewhere. Alright, so 26 foot-pounds on the outer ones. Slowly making progress. Got the timing on. That's proper. So that link's lined up. Exhaust linked. Crank, balance shaft. They're all lined up. So pretty much the only things left just to get the valve cover back on, timing cover, and I'm just really excited just to get a new oil pump on due to the fact that it's brand new. So I should have it. We should do the first startup in the next hour. So I'm gonna put the oil pump on, and then I'm gonna put oil in it so it'll lubricate the timing chain and the guides for its initial startup. And we'll cross our fingers and hope that it's not knocking. I ain't screw something up. I'm gonna do a side view on this initial startup. So I have oil in it. I checked that. Filter's tight. It's not like full, but it is at an angle, so the passenger side is elevated. I put a gallon in there, so I know it's full. I got some of all the other amenities off, the covers and things of that nature, so I can make sure that nothing's leaking, such as the high pressure fuel pump, because I've had that happen before, and it actually started up. So I think we're good. Let's turn the key, and if it starts up and it runs fine, then I'm gonna get the motor mount on and get everything back together. Here it goes. That backfire made me nervous. I'm like, oh, please tell me it didn't jump timing. Let me make sure it's not leaking. I'm not gonna lie, that's like the best sound you can hear. All right, I'm gonna get everything back together because that was the most important thing to first start up. It sounds fine, no knocking, timing, no check engine light, so the timing seemed to be on. Oil's moving. Let me get it started, get all the stuff on and get it dropped. All right, so after about 10 minutes of running, it's running a little rough right now. Let me let off the accelerator. It cleared up, but if let me see. And there. The coolant hasn't fully circulated. That's where that popping noise is coming from. So real quick, just start looking at some generic information. It stated that the system was lean. Let me go back. And so yeah, system too lean, random multiple misfire, and that's just the result from the system being lean. Let's look at live data. It's starting to run a little rough right now. So engine coolant temp's a little hot. That's normal. So I'm trying to get the thermostat open, no big deal. Short-term fuel trim is adding 32%, so it is lean, but let me show you something. Normally, in the long term, it's 39. No big deal. So we're trying to figure out why. Okay, intake air temp sensor's fine. Mass airflow, pounds per minute. Now, normally I would see 1. But this is a smaller displacement, but typically with most vehicles I'll see 1. So I'm going to take that into consideration because we might be dealing with mass airflow sensor issues. But let me show you what else. Look down to downstream. Upstream, bank 1 sensor 1 is at 0.050, which is lean, which indicate that yes, that's monitoring the lean condition, which the vehicle is compensating. But let me show you the other thing that conflicts that. The downstream bank 1 sensor 2 is positive. Low is lean, high is rich on oxygen sensors. So it seemed like the oxygen sensor may be stuck lean, and that's going to be my problem. Because yep, look at it, it's going to 0, it's flatlining. So I'm gonna likely have to replace this oxygen sensor. Strange, but things do happen. For the most part, the vehicle's running fine, for the exception of that. Let's see, it was fine before I touched it. So ever since I worked on the car, you know, I screwed something up. So it is what it is. I can do that ever since you with me, because I'm the one that's got to fix it. I blame myself. So is there anything else I need to look for? The heat's working, so the coolant's circulating. So my level of antifreeze should have dropped. This is good. Yeah, the heat's hot. So I'm fine with that. But what I'm gonna do, the main thing is running. Let me go out there and show you this running. Still got some air pockets in there, it's trying to get out, but it'll drop. I just gotta, a lot of times what I'll do, get the car really hot. So get about 230 or so, let it get hot, and let the thermostat open up, because this thermostat is remote. That coolant needs to get around and behind it, so it can get that coil hot, and it'll collapse. So, and it's going to eventually drop. That's an air pocket in there. That's good. The heat's hot, so it's moving. So the main thing is, like I said, it's running, oil circulating. There's no leaks under the car. No leaks around the engine bay at the moment. And the engine's still working 15 minutes after starting it. It's just I gotta do some diagnosing and get that fixed. And I'll do a video on that. But for the most part, the bulk of it is we're good. We're good. It's not knocking. So I'm gonna see you in the next video when I diagnose this oxygen sensor, because everything on this car, all the check engine lights is gonna get fixed. I'm gonna, all that, everything. If I find any code in any module, it's getting fixed. So this is gonna be straight. So let me do my thing. It's late. So it's the next day. I took the car on its first test drive, and the oxygen sensor still is flatlining. So the main reason why I'm replacing the oxygen sensor, I do have a new one. I have a Bosch. O'Reilly's do have the Walker product, since I started selling those, but this is, I just wind up getting the Bosch. No particular reason. If you looked at my last video, just to take a side note, if you look at my last video, I had to put in OEM parts on my brother's truck to get his to work fine, because I had a fuel trim imbalance code. Now, with that said, I'm still a proponent of aftermarket parts. Some cases are like that, where you have to be very specific and have OEM parts. That's not going to change the way I feel about factory versus aftermarket. It's still cheaper. As long as we know what we're doing, then we can go with aftermarket, and if it works in a compatible fashion, we're fine. So with that said, I'm putting in the Bosch. So last night I took it on, well, today I took it on a test drive, and it still went lean and it started running poorly. The oxygen sensor for the upstream was flatlining. Now it ain't started doing it until I touched it. All right. The downstream was reading rich, which indicated one of those sensors were telling the truth. The vehicle was making 39% accommodation. The top upstream was lean, but the downstream was rich. So I'm going to trust the downstream and replace this upstream sensor. So with that said, let's get right on into it. It's a very simple replacement. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see what happens. And I need to get, I got this old generic one, and it's old. When I tell you it's raggedy, it's raggedy. But it's fast though. Okay. So now it's working. So I had lean codes, cam position, actuator circuit. Are you serious? Did I break it? Oh my gosh, I broke the connector. Like, I can't win today. Oh my goodness. Let's see if it comes back immediately. So when I pulled the sensor off, I had hit the connector. Let's see if it, okay, hopefully it didn't break it. Okay, all right, let's move on with life. Let's see how the live data is looking. So our fuel trim is going negative because it was adding. Long term is normal, so it's working. Let's see how the oxygen sensor is moving. It should be dancing between 450 millivolts, and we should see a sine wave. Oh yeah, that looks good. That looks really good. I'm gonna let it idle, warm up, and then I'll be back in about 10 minutes. I got the oxygen sensor fixed, and unfortunately the car it's not holding coolant down, so it wants to elevate, and it just don't settle. After it gets about 180 degrees, then it starts to show signs of a blown head gasket. So it's not a thermostat. I put the bore scope down cylinder 4, and it's steaming out cylinder 4. So I said, let me try it, roll the dice. I took the valve cover off and retorqued down those bolts for cylinder 4. It didn't fix it. Long story short, I'm not sure what happened between me and the machine shop, but unfortunately, I'm not trying to blame the machine shop, but how hard it is for me to prep a surface, put a head gasket down, and torque the bolts down. I've never had this happen. So logically, what's going to have to happen, take the head back off, take it to the machine shop, and have them check it. And I imagine for what I paid for it, they pressure tested it for doing anything else. We milled it, cleaned it, and replaced all the valves and stuff. So yeah. So it runs fine. It's just no heat, and it bubbles over after it gets hot. So oxygen sensor got fixed because that was an issue. No big deal. What I'll do, I'm just gonna have to make a continuation of this repair, but I got other things I gotta do. So this is going to sit for a little bit, and there'll be an updated video in the future. So yeah, that hurt. I just sat in the car with the door chime for like 12 to 15 minutes, just silent, because I already knew, like, I'm effed right now. So yeah, I'm at a loss of words. Let me do my thing. I'll come back to this, but unfortunately, I guess fortunately and unfortunately, I would rather for the fortunate part to be the rotating assembly down below working. The unfortunate part is, see, yeah, that's like coolant. Yeah, that's air, vacuum, or whatever. That's what you're hearing. So I'd rather have the bottom end work and the top end have issues versus the other way around. So I gotta be appreciative of that. What I'll do, I'll just have to order a new head gasket set, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm using copper spray next time. I should have put copper spray on this one, but I was like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna put copper spray on it. I should have put copper spray on it. It would have been a little bit of assurance. I got a Miata outside that I've worked on, did a head gasket on well over a year ago. Used copper spray, no issues. And I'm not a sealant guy, but copper spray is, we use them. You can use them for comedic gaskets, if I recall, high performance stuff. You don't have sealant on it, unless it's like sealant compound. So I'm definitely using it for this one. Next time, I don't want to have to go through this again. I probably could just snatch the head off, throw another head gasket on like a Felpro or something. But I'm just going to take it back to the machine shop, let them check it, pressure test, and check their work, and then I'll do my end, buy new bolts and a head gasket. If anything happens, I'll update. Hit that link, subscribe to the channel, stay informed how the originals can work. See you on the next one. So in hindsight, once I started doing a little bit more investigation, when I bought the head gasket for this go round, I wound up buying a factory one, and I noticed that it was 0.6 millimeters versus the aftermarket Fel-Pro. Now, I don't have the Fel-Pro numbers, but I'd imagine the Fel-Pro should be around the same specs as the original equipment. I found a Clevite, or mile, however you pronounce that, that was 0.9 millimeters, so it's a lot thicker. This looked like it's about, what, 40% thicker. But if I recall properly, I think that brand is typically going to be thicker, and that's probably why they make it known. But being that I had a Fel-Pro, it's aftermarket, maybe it was a little thicker than original equipment, don't know. But I think that's my issue, was a thinner head gasket, age, and years of just driving the vehicle. The block probably has definitely going to have some imperfections. I'm assuming that they did shave or mill the head at the machine shop. So I'm going to need a thicker head gasket that should fill that void up and get this working normal as it should. Being that when it heats up, metal expand, and then the clearances start to show. When it's idle, it's fine. It's only when it heats up and the metal begins to expand. So I should be fine putting a thicker head gasket on it, and that should take care of my problems. So I got that on its way, and I'll definitely do another video in the upcoming weeks or like the next month or two.